Learn the rules like the pro so you can break them unboundedly and not be bounded by rules, because this is Need for Speed Unbounded, and you know, you're fully unbounded, so have fun. So this is like the latest Need for Speed game. It came out the tail end of last year, right before Xmas, and yeah, it's got these cool decals that the previous games never had before. So that's the greatest, these fancy new anime-ish decals and smoke that sort of tried to convince people to pick up the game. And really, it plays a lot like the previous game, Need for Speed Heat. There's tons of cars driving around in the city, so pretty much what they've managed to upgrade since the previous game was they tried to make the city more vibrant. So they added cars, they added pedestrians going around everywhere, just to make the city seem more livelier than the previous Need for Speed. And it really does make the city feel lived in and vibrant. I feel like the flashy new effects, like that's what caught my eye when I saw this game before picking it up. They sort of changed the presentation, and it makes the game unique amongst all the Need for Speeds. I can't think of any other racing games that sort of had these like stylish effects to them. So where Need for Speed Heat was based in Miami, this seems to be based in like a alternate Chicago city. The characters, unfortunately, like they kind of seem bland, kind of like cheesy, it's kind of uninspired, unfortunately. Like they do the job, and like, but the writing just, it doesn't seem super exciting. The way they interact are just kind of bleh. So that's unfortunate. And then the story itself is pretty uninspiring. You know, you try to be the greatest racer, I guess, in the city, and so it just feels like a Fast and Furious, I guess, backstory. When you're revving the engines, I feel like they sound pretty good, and you know the cars seem pretty fast, but it just you know, the game is more being, Need for Speed's being more about fine tuning your vehicles more than the actual racing and the car culture, and so I wouldn't expect too much from the racing, but still, the story itself, the big con, as I said, the plot's kind of weak, the character's kind of weak. The story consists of like a 4-week interval where you race repetitively on the same handful of tracks, unfortunately, so it doesn't sort of, there's not a lot of diversity in the tracks, and fortunately it's between night and day tracks. The game's vehicles, they feel heavy at slower speeds, but yet floaty once you start to accelerate, so it sort of feels like they're not connected to the ground, unfortunately. And all in all, like unfortunately the game just feels like practically the same game as Need for Speed Heat, just with the anime decals and other things, which actually some people don't like. So really the game, it's pretty much, if you turn those off, the game is pretty much the same game that you bought last year, unfortunately. Yeah, with a multi-level city instead of like palm trees and neon. So they sort of changed some gimmicks out and added the neon, or not neon, they had the palm trees and the higher level raised city to this game. So the game really needs some new ideas, unfortunately, ultimately. Maybe possibly new game mechanics. It just feels like there was just some new paint added to this game, and not much else. Ultimately, like it's solid, so it's a solid but unspectacular entry to the Need for Speed franchise. The gameplay is what you expect from the series, but the racing itself is rather mediocre, rather than super thrilling like Hot Pursuit or other past titles with classic titles that everyone thinks of. I would say it's a decent 7 out of 10. But wait for the price to drop from $80, because $80 seems really steep for the game you get. This feels like a $20, $30 game with the lack of gameplay variety. Apparently you just go pretty much from point A to race and then back point B to your garage, and like there's a lot of like sameness. It's not like you have like submissions apparently. So yeah, you're just driving from point A to B to the meetups and then back to start another race. So it really feels like a constricting open world, if that makes any sense. So it doesn't really feel like an open world when you're just traveling in the same spots all the time for the missions. So I would say if you have the money and you have to own all the Need for Speeds, go for it, but $80 is a definite no, because it's just way too overpriced for the game that you're getting. So I would say just speed up and get out of here and wait till the next Need for Speed, or pick up one of the classic ones, because this one unfortunately is sort of like a down year, and there's not really much new to this one compared to the previous one, Need for Speed Heat. And even pick up that one actually if you know, you like the setting better. So keep on gaming. See you later. Bye.